studio, and today, you guys, today, we are going to be doing the Cheeseburger Cake Kit. So one of my favorite things to do is make cakes that look like food. So I'm so excited, and cupcakes that look like food. I don't know how to explain. It just makes me really happy. So if the sticker on your box right here does not say Cheeseburger Cake Kit, no worries, you're just probably looking for another video, so go ahead and head back to our YouTube channel and click on the video that's titled the same as whatever sticker is right here on your My Make Studio box. But if it does say Cheeseburger Cake Kit, welcome. This one is super cute. I love it so much. It's gonna be a fun time. There are a couple things we need to go over first. So number one is you will need to bake your vanilla cake mix first. So inside your box is your box of cake mix, and then on the back of the cake mix box, there are instructions on how to bake your cake, so just follow those along and you should be just fine. And if you're like, what if I don't have round cake pans? Well, you could use square ones if you wanted, but I got you. Inside the box, it's not one cake pan, but two. So two of these equal one cake. And I think that's so awesome that we can send you guys cake pans. So all you'll do is follow the directions on your box to mix your batter up, grease your pans a bit, divide it evenly between these, bake them, and then you should be all set. Now the next thing for this cake is we want it at least room temperature. We don't want it warm at all because it's going to make our icings and everything all soupy goopy, and if you try and level a really warm cake, you might end up breaking it. It's just a lot harder to do. So at least make sure it's room temperature. If you want to put it in the fridge or the freezer for a little bit to make it a little extra cold, that's not going to hurt it either. We just don't want a warm cake. We want at least a room temperature cake. And then aside from that, some things you're going to need that are not in your box are a pair of handy dandy scissors. This is just to cut some things open. And then I always recommend some kind of towel, like a hand towel, kitchen towel, even a paper towel is totally fine. Just something we can set our open icing bags on and wipe our fingers off on to try and help keep our area as clean as possible while we go. And then you will need a bowl. However, you can use one of these pans after you've baked your cake if you don't want to dirty up a bowl in your house. But we will need something to mix stuff up in. So aside from that, go ahead and wash your hands super duper good, and then we're good to get started. So I'm gonna unpack everything from my box, grab my cakes, and we're gonna make a cheeseburger. Alrighty, so also in your box is a cake board. So this is something you can set your cheeseburger cake on. And then I've got my two cakes right here. Now for the cheeseburger, look at your cakes and see which one is rounded the most. And also if your cakes look a little bit differently than mine, like if they're more rounded or a little bit more flat or even lighter in color, don't worry, you didn't do anything wrong. We ship our cake kits and cupcake kits all over the country, and there are so many things that affect how things bake. Like the weather outside, humidity, lack of humidity, high altitude, no altitude, everybody's ovens are different. It's true. No one's ovens bake the same. So if your cakes don't look exactly like mine, do not worry. You're probably just in a different part of the country than I am. So with a cheeseburger cake, usually with the cake kits, we level both of these, but we're not going to do that today. We're only going to level one of them. So whichever one is more rounded, save that cake. That's going to be the top of our cheeseburger. We actually want to incorporate the roundedness of it. And if yours isn't super round, it's gonna look cute either way at the end. Just pick whichever one is a bit more rounded of the two. So then I have this one. So I am gonna level this one. So, oh, I'm sorry you guys. You'll need a butter knife or a cake spatula to level this. I'm sorry. I care, I promise, I'm just sorry. So I'll let you go grab that. Oh wait, I'm sorry. So I'm gonna use a metal spatula today, but you can use a butter knife. And then I'm just going to put it into my cake sideways like so. So I'm not very far into it, but enough to where I'm breaking the top. I'm not sticking it into the cake. And I'm just gonna go back and forth and level this. So this is where you would need a bowl or one of your cake pans. So I'm gonna pop that in there. And I'm going to level this a little bit more, and I've also got this lip going on of an edge, and I want to cut that off too. And don't throw this away. Usually, I say you can do different things with it, but actually, we're gonna use it as part of this cake today. So you will need all these pieces you're cutting out. Perfect. So it's like this. So then my cake would look like this. You can leave it just like this, or if you want to go the extra mile step, you can cut a little bit off the bottom like this to make this not as wide. I actually think I'm going to do that today, but that is just an extra mile step. You don't have to do it. It looks adorable either way, but I feel like my cake is a little bit taller than I usually like them, so I am going to very gently just cut my cake, trying to keep it even. And it gives me more tops, or more cake bits to play with. And again, I'm cutting the bottom, not the rounded part. So then, oh, this side's a little wider. There we go. So then, just made it a little shorter for the top, which is how I thought today. So I'm going to set the one that I didn't cut the top off the dome part aside. If you want to stick it in the fridge until we need it, you totally can, or you can just leave it sitting out. It'll be fine either way. I'm going to take this piece, and the part that I cut is going to face up, and I'm going to put it on the cake board, and I'm going to set that aside. And now we're going to make the first part of our cheeseburger, you guys, which is the patty. So if you want to see what I'm doing before you commit to it, totally fine. You can just squeeze your chocolate icing all over the top of this in circles to make a patty, but I like to incorporate the cake in it because it gives the icing texture and a different look, and I feel like it makes it look more realistic when you do it this way, and that's what I like. And plus then I get to use all my cake. So I'm going to take both of my chocolate icings and squeeze them into the same pan as this. And then I'm going to mush my icing down and fold it like it's toothpaste to help get that pressure, just so I make sure I'm using all of it. Perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing with the second one. All right. So now, inside your box was also a spatula. I got blue today. If you got blue, cheers! We have a bunch of different colors floating out there. I like the blue one. I like blue, green, and orange the most, to be honest, but I'm super excited about this. So you got some options. You can take this spatula and mix it together this way. You can wash your hands and treat it like you're kneading bread dough and mush it that way. Or you can get a spoon or a fork and kind of act like you're whisking it too. But I'm going to mix this into my cake. Until I can't really tell that it's vanilla cake pieces in there. I'll show you when I'm done. Yes, this is exactly what I wanted. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes, this is perfect. Okay. Well, there's these one little pieces right here that I made. Okay. See how it gives it a texture? To me, it looks more like a patty when you do it this way. So again, if you're like, yeah, I want to do that, totally fine. It is your cake. You're the one who's going to be eating it. I want you to be happy with it. So if you don't like the slightly more realistic look to it, then all you need to do is take your chocolate icings and squeeze them all out into the circle shape on top. I wouldn't flatten them out all the way. You want a little bit of height, so I try and have them here, but they don't have to be super duper smooth, because at the end, this is going to go on the top. This cake is kind of strange to decorate because most of our cakes were looking like this, but with our cheeseburger cake, we're going to be looking from the side because we won't be able to see anything in the middle, so we want all of our pieces to be showing on the sides. But it's time to put this patty mixture on the cake, so I'm just going to take that spatula and just plop it on. I'm trying to get as much as I can. Alright. So I've got it on. I am going to move it around a little bit, but again, I'm not going to flatten it out. I'm just going to lightly push it in the directions I want it to go, because I actually want it to be thick on the sides here. I want the height, so when we put everything on there and put the top on, you can see it and it doesn't get lost. And I'm just using a very light amount of pressure, like, almost like I'm petting a nervous cat, but a little bit more pressure than that, just slightly. So I guess it would be like you're petting a sleepy dog. Like, I have to love you, but I don't want to wake you up. That's about the pressure I'm using. Yes, this looks awesome already. I love it. I'm just trying to keep it level and keep it in the center. Ta-da! And then that's all we need that for. So I'm going to go ahead and set that down. And it is time for some ketchup. So I'm going to take my red icing. I'm going to move my cake because I already see my elbow going there. And then we're going to take off the lid, and there's this little white ring in here, and we're going to pop, or white circle, I guess, and pop it out of the ring. And now we have a coupler ring. It comes with the icing tube. This is what you use to attach icing tips to them. Like, it comes with it. That's so cool in my mind. But I'm going to take this seal off, and then we have a little bag of fun that came in the box. And it looks like this. We are going to take out the little package of these weird plastic-looking things. These are our icing tips. And for this one, we're going to take out the one that looks just like a circle, just a round drawing tip. And I'm going to put it on, and I'm going to take the ring, put it over the top, apply a little pressure, and twist it on there. Now, sometimes the icing tips is like, no, stop it, silly. So you might need to move them around a little bit or apply a certain amount of pressure to get them on there just right, but they will go on there, and you should be able to do this and it not go flying across the room. If you did this and you're all set, ting, awesome. If you did this and it flew across the room, still ting, awesome, thank you for testing, but go ahead and rinse that off and try again. But back to our cake. So instead of putting this all in the center, I want to make sure I can see it on the sides, because again, we will not be able to see any of this top part right here. We will only be able to see the sides. So what I do is I make almost like roller coaster lines. So I go, whoa, 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 along the side. And you can also drip down onto your cake too. This is going to be our ketchup. And you can fill in the center if you want. Depends on how much icing you want to eat. I personally think this is enough icing for me, so I'm not going to fill in my center, but you can if you want to. Alright, so it looks a little weird right now. It looks like I've got like a SpongeBob flower on there. Now I'm going to take this tip and I'm going to fill in all these loops. Like that. So I'm going to fill in all these and I'll come back and we'll go to our next part. Ta-da! Alrighty. So the next thing we're going to put on this cheeseburger is the cheese. So if you have any icing on your hands, go ahead and wash your hands before we do this next part. That way it does not stain what we're going to use for our cheese. And then make sure they're dry before you come back. We're going to be playing with fondant here in a little bit, and water makes fondant really sticky. You can still work with it, but it's a really weird feeling to have wet, sticky fondant. And I don't think we need to have that today. So if you have icing on your hands, go ahead and wash them off, and then make sure your hands are really dry before you start playing with your fondant. But I'm all set, so I'm gonna go ahead and go. Back in that little bag of fun, there is some fondant. So fondant, if you've never played with it before, is basically Play-Doh you can eat. So what I like to do is cut the top off, take my scissors and go down the side. That way I can unwrap it like a candy bar and leave it in a rectangle. If you rip it all out in different chunks, it's totally fine. It's not gonna hurt it at all, because either way, we are going to mush this up with our hands. I like to play with it with my hands. Plus, I just feel like it makes it easier to work with. And then I'm going to roll it into a ball. So for making your cheese, you have some options. If you have a rolling pin at home, you could put a little bit of powdered sugar down, set your fondant on top of it. The powdered sugar just stops it from sticking to your table. And then you could roll this out either in a circle or a rectangle, and then you could cut out a square. I know when I first started decorating, I didn't have any tools. I didn't have a rolling pin. I didn't have any of that. So I'm going to show you how to do it without, just in case you don't have one. But if you do have one, know the option is there. You can totally roll this out if you'd rather do that way than what I'm about to show. So I've made a ball. I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to squash it. All of my strength. And then I'm going to take my pincher fingers and I'm going to pinch it out. And I'm going to go in a circle doing that. It's kind of like I'm making a little pizza. So when you do it this way, you can leave this fingerprint indentations in there to make it look a bit more like melty. Or I think this is much easier to do on your table, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to do it in my hand, but I recommend that you do put it on your table for this part. You can take the palm of your hand, put it on there, and buffer it. So I'm applying pressure and I'm going in circles. And it helps get all those out. So I need to move it over here. Again, that's why it's easier to do on the table, because then you don't have to flip it and move it like I'm having to. Yes. Okay, I'm happy with that. So if you would like, you can cut a perfect square if you want, but I'm gonna eyeball it because I like the look when it's not. So I'm just gonna square this off. And the best part about fondant is if you do this and you accidentally cut it in half, you can just take your pieces and mush them back together and re-roll it. Yes. All right, and I'm gonna make it a little bit longer. So I'm gonna pinch it out just a little bit more. I'm gonna move these, bring my cake back. Okay, so I want it just a little wider. I wanna have corner to corner. It does not matter how you put your cheese on there, just put it on there however you think is cute. I do recommend that you have at least one corner sticking out, because again, you can't see the top. You'll only be able to see the sides, so that way you can see that there's cheese there. I want mine just a little bit longer. So I'm just pinching out my edges, pulling it slightly, very lightly. Very light pull. Alrighty. Yes. Oh my gosh, yes, this is what I want. Side view. You can see all my pieces so far, which is exactly what I want. And then the last part for the inside of our cheeseburger is going to be some lettuce. So I'm going to take my green icing, and I'm going to knead the top. And then inside that tip baggie, you have a tip that looks like a V or an alligator mouth, depending on how you're looking at it. This is the leaf tip, and we're going to use it for lettuce today. So when you're using this tip, you want to hold it like it's an alligator mouth. Like it's going to throw up icing all over your cupcake. And you've got a couple different options for lettuce, or your cupcake, your cake. You actually have a couple different options for lettuce. So you can hold it sideways. You can either be level or at a slight angle. Squeeze in the same spot. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stop and pull back. And you could add a bunch of little rows of those on the side of your cake. Or you can do a jab with it, so it's like you're poking somebody while you're squeezing. So poke, 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 poke. To get more of like a big poofy leafy lettuce. I usually do a mix of the two, to be honest. So I'm going to do this on top of my cheese. And then again, you can fill in the center if you want. I'm personally not going to, but you can if you want to. I like to do a couple of jabs, and then I'll have like a short piece of lettuce, and then a couple of jabs, and then a short piece of lettuce. And I do like to have some of them kind of flop onto the patty. It's just visually, I think it looks cool that way. It's what I like. But again, it is your cake, so do whatever you like. Perfect. Awesome. So looking at the side, we can see the patty, the ketchup, the cheese, and the lettuce. All the way around. Now it is time to put the top on. So when I put my top on, I like to go at a little bit of an angle. I don't know why. That's just what I like. You can put it straight on there like this if you want. Totally up to you. So before you actually place it, I recommend playing with your angles. So look at it this way, turn it this way, and turn it this way, and then put it on there whichever way feels right for you. So I'm going to go at a slight angle like this. Yeah. Look at it! Oh, I actually think that should be the front, so I'm gonna do, yeah. And then there is one more part to this cake, which it is totally optional. You don't have to do it, but I'm gonna show you how to do it in case you want to. Because when I was a little kid, in my mind, anything that had sesame seeds on it meant that it was automatically fancy and way better. So we've got some white sprinkles for if you want a sesame seed bun. And I just cut the corner off. I don't think you'll need all these white sprinkles, but you can always find something else to do with them. So you have options, you guys. I understand that this isn't for everyone, but you can take one single tiny sprinkle at a time and place it into the top of your cake. But if you're like, I don't have time for that, that is okay. I understand the single sprinkle lifestyle is not for everyone. You can just pick a spot, sprinkle them on, and then give them a little bit of a pat to stick them into the top. Either way is totally fine. It's just how intricate and detailed you want to be with these sesame seeds. So I'm going to finish putting my seeds on, and then I'll come back. And that's it, you guys. That's the Cheeseburger Cake Kit. Look at it. I think it's so cool. It just makes my heart happy. Thank you guys so much for coming today. I hope that you had fun. I hope you enjoy eating your cheeseburgers. Oh my gosh, I hope you have fun. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoy eating it. And then if you would like to share your cheeseburgers with us so we can see what you did, you can go to our website, which is mymakestudio.com. And if you click on the Chef Chayla tab, there is an option to upload your photos for me to be able to see them. And then you will become part of our Bakers Club and get a certificate from me. So if you would like to share your creations, I always love seeing them. One of the coolest things I think about the kids is that we're following a step-by-step thing together. But you guys always put your own personalities into them, and I think that is so neat because for me, cakes and cupcakes are just art. It's art that I can eat, and art is unique just like you guys are, and I think that is so cool that we can all do stuff and still come out with something that's totally us. Like, I love it so much. I appreciate you guys being here. So if you'd like to share your photos with us, again, it's mymakestudio.com. Just click on the Chef Chayla tab and there'll be an option there for you. And if you are like, no, No worries, that's not a requirement of doing this. You do not have to send me pictures if you do not want to. You are under no obligation to do so. But if you would like to share, I love seeing them, so please don't feel like you're bothering us. You're more than welcome to share your photos with us. And then if you do go to the website, we also have other cake kits. Like we've got a unicorn cake and all that jazz. We also have some square cakes. We have a garden one. And then we also have cupcake kits, which if you are really enjoying this food-themed day, we also have a foodie cupcake, and then we also have Thanksgiving dinner cupcakes, which, I mean, I've already said that's one of my favorite things to do, so I love both of those. So if you really enjoyed this, I highly recommend that you check those out. And then if you'd like to follow any of our social media, our Instagram and our Facebook are at MyMakeStudio. Those are good places to see kind of like what's going on in our lives and new and upcoming things we've got going on. Plus, if you didn't know, we're Colorado based. So those are good places just to follow in general. And then if you would like, we also have a TikTok, which is at MyMakeStudio. And the TikTok is a little bit more of a dive into my life. Like, how did I do this hair dye? How do I do my rainbow makeup? What is my dog up to? I made cookies that look like cupcakes. Just silly things like that. So if you'd like to follow any of our socials, there they are for you. But again, thank you guys so much for coming today. And I know I've already said it a few times, but I mean it. I hope that you had fun, and I hope you enjoy eating your cheeseburgers. And as always, stay creative.